Morning, Internet. Welcome to Friday. Hope your week has gone well thus far. One more day, and then we're at the official weekend. As we mentioned yesterday, here in France, we have a second back to back holiday, so no complaints there. But we did want to sort of address the following idea, even though it is a holiday. So, the idea that I wanted to discuss just briefly this morning was the the tension between confidence and curiosity when learning something new, but particularly in our space of LTC, learning to code, and sort of the delicate balance that one might need when first sort of beginning the journey of having confidence that you can get to the next day, no matter how hard the day is, no matter how tough the problem sets are or how discouraged you feel. And then sort of curiosity in that same regard or in that same flavor, that you kind of wonder what comes next, or you wonder what you could do if you kept studying programming for a few months, a few years, a few days, whatever sort of time frame you want. Just the idea of like, what might this offer? What might this potentially give or allow is pretty interesting. Sort of the second part of curiosity is sort of digging into how things work, how problems are set up, how the question is asked, as we've discussed in other videos, just sort of how the different pieces fit together, whether it's pieces of a problem, pieces of a programming language, pieces of programming concepts or CS concepts, or just sort of how learning to code fits into your life or the broader world. And I think what's interesting when you think about this tension of curiosity and confidence is sort of how you can learn from others or how you perceive others. And so today we wanted to sort of discuss curiosity and confidence, particularly in the aspect of honest or authentic conversation with another person who is on the journey of learning to code, curious about learning to code, or sort of had learned to code, but maybe is no longer actively on the journey. So the sort of the thought catalyst of this discussion today was on Friday. No, today's Friday, so not today. On Wednesday, which was like the last day of classes for this week in our program in France, because of the back-to-back holidays, went out with a couple of people from the program, and we just got to talking. As you might have guessed, I'm not always the best at small talk, particularly like surface level conversations. Sometimes my brain just like zones out, which I think is fine, but it doesn't always facilitate for like beginning conversations. I'm more interested, I think, like in having deeper conversations or conversations around connection. In any case, I was talking with one of the batchmates that I didn't know super well. I had worked with him in the buddy system in our program, and I thought he was really great, really smart, super sharp, very driven. But I just opened up and asked him a couple questions. Like I asked him, I don't want to reveal too much, but it was like sort of like, are you ever scared that your choice of learning to code was the wrong choice, or are you ever scared or nervous that it won't work out, right? Because that's how I feel sometimes. Just that like spending so much time and money and energy thinking about learning to code, like it could just turn out that it's like not for me, or I'm not cut out for it, which in and of itself is sort of a mindset question, and one of the reasons we wanted to start the project, because I think that mindset is not super constructive, and you can have a series of false beliefs that sort of prevent you from even getting started to learn to code. But in any case, it was sort of interesting to pose this question to someone else, whether he was ever nervous about this potential outcome. And I super appreciated it in that he was very direct, very honest, and he said yes. Like, yeah, I'm nervous that it might not work out. I'm nervous, sort of what might be on the other side. Day to day, there's like a lot of uncertainty, but he he knew who he was. He knows who he is. He knows what he wants or who he wants to be, and he's just pursuing it. And I thought that was like super admirable, both in that he didn't really give a non-answer answer, which is easy to do sometimes for such a direct question, and then two, that he like knows who he wants to be, and he's pursuing that even if he doesn't know exactly how to get there. And so if we go back to the idea of curiosity and confidence and sort of the need or benefit, I guess, of the two in the journey of learning to code, it was sort of interesting to think about how I use curiosity and confidence in my own learning journey, and then how someone like my colleague or my peer might do that. And it was just really interesting sort of getting an inside scoop into his thought, his views, his life, because I always sort of looked at him from afar as this like super sharp, gets it on the first try, amazing memory, full of confidence, just unworldly person or personality in our batch. And like, yet when I asked him if he was a little, if he was ever nervous about the decision of learning to code and leaving banking or private equity or whatever thing he was doing before behind, he said yeah. And I think that honesty, that vulnerability made me feel closer to him, and also like more at peace with my own choice, I guess. Because now like the sample size is not one. Like I don't feel like I'm the only one who might think I'm crazy to learn to code. I know that there's other people who might feel that way sometimes, and that's really comforting. So I guess when you go back to curiosity and confidence, your internal confidence may be very different than someone's external confidence or your perception of their external confidence. So I perceive that I believe that he was internally as confident as he projected or I interpreted externally, and maybe that's not the case. So not the most linear thing about curiosity and confidence, but sort of in summary, this video was about the belief or hypothesis that both curiosity and confidence can come in handy when learning to code, and sort of the ability to connect with others and to ask them questions, potentially like intimate or vulnerable questions, and like really open up and lower your guard down a little bit, can be really helpful, at least for me, in knowing sort of what other people's experiences might be like, or sort of more of what they might be like, and also just sort of being able to humanize some of the people in my program that I, in a little way, some ways idolize. Sort of my question, or our questions to you, are like, have you ever been able to, in the space of learning to code, sort of lower your walls and find someone else, ask someone else, what they feel about learning to code, particularly someone who is beginning or interested in or on the journey of learning to code, rather than maybe your parents or your significant other, if you have one, who could sort of intellectually empathize in 1 or 2 degrees of separation. But I think it's, at least for me, it's different when someone's like actually in the space, or has experience in the space. So that's just the one big question for today, for you, for the community more broadly. As is the case in almost every video, we appreciate your feedback, if you choose to give it, about the quality, what we can do better, what we're doing well, if anything, sort of content, subjects, ideas, topics that you might like us to think about producing or putting out into the community, into the world. That's always welcome. And there's like a survey or like a little form you can fill out, or a link to a form that you can fill out in the description, so that if you like want to give an easy way for feedback, you can do that. Otherwise, there's the regular social channels, comments, like, dislike, subscribe, and just sort of the comment section are all sort of signals to us that we're doing well, not well, that kind of thing. So I'm gonna go on with Friday. Got some errands to run, some life to live. You go on with your Friday. Maybe we'll catch you later, later in the weekend, later tonight, something like that. But thanks for taking the time to watch, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.